Woohoo! We're live. Hello. I'm joining a couple minutes late. I'll give folks a chance to join because I'm really excited about our topic today. In fact, I've been talking about it all day. I think I've mentioned it on almost every call I've had today. So stick around, join in, and we'll get started in just a moment here. I should have brought some water to my desk earlier. So here I am without any water, but that's okay. So welcome. I have done a number of videos on frameworks that have helped me solve business problems for for-profit, nonprofit businesses, tools that have been helpful. I'm getting a message that streaming on LinkedIn failed and is trying to recover backup keys. Don't know what's happening there. I'll give things another moment. Let me see if I can open LinkedIn. Hello, technology. Still showing it's pre-live. One person has joined. Excellent. On YouTube. Hello on YouTube. Welcome. I'm attempting to broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I just got an error that LinkedIn wasn't working, but that's okay. Hopefully, folks on LinkedIn will be able to join somewhere else. All right, let's get going. I don't want to waste your time. Today we are talking about, I don't even know if I should call this one a framework or a set of principles, a book that greatly influenced me early on, and I am rereading. It's laid out in a book, The Great Game of Business by Jack Stack. He's written some other books too. And this is somebody who figured out ways to run a successful for-profit business in this case, but all of the principles completely apply to nonprofits as well. As I often like to say, everything that works for a for-profit business also works for a nonprofit. There are a few things that work for nonprofits that don't work for for-profit businesses. Sorry, for-profit businesses, you're not going to be able to succeed with volunteers the way nonprofits can. That being said, you probably also won't ever need to hire a volunteer manager. But everything a for-profit can use can also be used by a nonprofit. So what are the key principles I want you to think about from the Great Game of Business? So the kind of overarching principle that I like to think about, this is beyond, there are some frameworks in here, but I think it's the principles that are really the best thing about this idea of the game of business or the Great Game of Business. And the first is that, we need people. People are what help us make business decisions. And now my video is frozen. Let's see if we can fix that. Having video issues. This is just a day, right? Hey, I see we have a few folks joining. Say hi in the chat for me. Let me know if you can still hear me. I'm going to disconnect my camera and reconnect it for a moment here, see if that fixes the issue. But do let me know. Can you still hear me? Let me know in the chat. Can you still hear me? Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back in video. All right. Whew. All right, so we're talking about the Great Game of Business, and really high level, I'm going to give you a few keys. This is the book. There is a system, right? This company, Jack Stack built his company, created this system for running businesses, totally works for nonprofits as well as for-profits. And then they started a training company where you can learn the frameworks and systems. The most important principle here is around valuing people and leveraging everybody's brain, right? So this idea that I think is so important is that, and especially like as we get AI, right? As more output type jobs get replaced by automation, by computers, we still need people to make business decisions, to figure out innovative ideas. Even if for now we have AI making suggestions, evaluating data, and getting close to that, we still need a human to be double checking and running our businesses. And even if we get to the point where AI can do all of that, we may still want to do it, because at a certain point, we run businesses to enrich the world, to enrich our lives, to enrich our employees' lives. And you might want to keep people working for your organization, even if you don't have to, because there's a lot more meaning in paying people, building lives, and innovating than there is having computers do absolutely everything. That's a tangent, though. But the secret here is, if we have 20 people working in our organization or our business, and we only have 4 of them, my video is going to keep freezing here, but we're just going to go with it. If we only have 4 of them using their brains to make decisions, we've got 16 other untapped minds. And so much of what is taught in the Great Game of Business is about learning to leverage every brain in our company, because we will do better if we have 20 brains, 20 minds thinking through how to make our organizations or our businesses better, stronger, more efficient, more profitable, more revenue, more fundraising, whatever it is, greater impact. We are more likely to succeed than if we only have, a small percentage of the people working for us using their brains. There's a great story about that in the book, The Great Game of Business, where he was running a factory, essentially had I think it was a pipe welder or a pipe cutter, right? Who was also, they didn't know till they started this new process, was also a self-made millionaire in the real estate space. And they weren't using his business mind at all until they started this new approach. So one principle I want you to think about, or question I want you to be asking yourselves, is how can I be using the minds, the brains of my entire team? And that leads to another key principle, or kind of all the next principles are within that context in this framework or set of principles. So one is, if we gamify things, if we give people chances to win, they are more likely to engage with their full selves and their full brains. And within that, the idea that we'd rather win as a team. It's more fun when everybody wins the prize than it is when we compete against each other. So how can we set things up so that our teams can win as teams and win for themselves and win for the business or nonprofit? So that might mean looking like, how can we set up a system where everybody gets to enjoy winning, bringing in more donors, bringing in an investor, bringing in more clients, reducing overhead costs or operational costs, right? How can we give everybody a chance to win? And that could be something fun and silly, like a prize or a gong or whatever it is. It can also mean giving people a stake, right? And even though nonprofits don't have owners, like in for-profits, you could make somebody a shareholder, but you can also distribute bonuses and revenue sharing without distributing ownership. And the same is true in nonprofits. You can have an incentivizing system where everybody literally financially gets a financial prize for growing the financial health of an organization. Another principle along those lines, so gamification works, I think, is it works to motivate people, inspire people, and bring people together as a community. The next principle that I think is really key to take away from this book is the concept of valuing numbers, right? Valuing when everybody can read the financials, when everybody can read a cash flow statement, a profit and loss statement, when everybody can see how the money's moving and understand how they impact the bigger picture, we get better results. We allow people to use their brains. And if you follow that principle, you will naturally come to, and part of that principle, I should say, is about not keeping secrets, AKA more clear information is better. The more people have the right information presented in clear ways, the more people can get involved with their brains. And if you follow that path, that logical path to its full fruition, you will also end up believing in what he talks about in Great Game of Business, essentially open book management, that ultimately, if we share all the financials within our company with everybody who works in our company, people will be able to make better financial decisions and all get playing this game of where winning is the whole company moves forward, not just one person's department or another, not one person's job or individual goals or another's, but we're all trying to achieve the same few goals as a team. Open book management often gets but Sarah, we can't do that. Like if people know other people's salaries, that's not fair, or that's risky or dangerous. The truth is, keeping secrets is more dangerous. You are way more likely to be equitable and appropriate in your pay if it's open book, but it's not like we just want to open up all the books without preparation. How we share this information matters. Man, you guys, I'm sorry about my camera. I don't know how to fix it. I might just need a new camera. It worked all morning and now it's freezing. I replaced my computer. I've updated software. If you have a camera fix for me, please reach out. Let me know. Okay. I have a Canon M50, in case that help me. Back to the Great Game of Business. So it will lead you to open book management, but a precursor to that is people need to understand how the numbers work. And then once they do, and they need to learn how to work together as a team. Once they understand how the numbers work, how their work impacts the numbers, then they can start using this financial data as a tool. And that is when, bit by bit, you can open up all the financial data. And the more you do that, combined with knowledge and education, so it's usable, the more you'll be able to unlock your team's brains. Because when they know how the money works, then they know how to bring in more money, and everybody's lives gets easier. I'm going to wrap it up there. There's obviously so many good things in here. I highly recommend that you read The Great Game of Business if you have a business or a nonprofit that is big enough to have a team, right, of more than a couple people. This is going to be a great book for you and a great set of principles and frameworks for you to think about and make your own. Again, if you have a camera solution for me, I'd love to know. Otherwise, I will see you all next week with a new topic. I haven't decided what it'll be yet, but I'll set some new topics. If there's something you'd love to learn about, let me know, and I'd be happy to add that to my list of things. My camera has frozen again. Maybe it's overheating. I don't know, because it was fine all morning. So I will leave you with this. And until next time, all the best.